are singing, tracking the talker, sitting nice and tall, hands in our lap, voices up. Thank you. Here's what we're doing in music today. Elementary Academy scholars will be able to sing and move to Down, Down, Baby, discover our rhythm of the day, hear the sounds of percussion instruments of the percussion family, and then listen to and analyze Toccata for percussion. So first thing we're going to do is sing and move to Down, Down, Baby. So make sure you are in a space where you can move. I am in a space where I have a lot of stuff around my feet. So when we get to the part where we're going to jump, I'm going to pretend to jump because I have a lot of things rattling around my feet. All right, it's been a while since we did Down, Down, Baby. We're just going to do our best, check our memories, just see what we remember. And because we have so much to do today, we're just going to run it through one time at kind of an andante tempo, walking speed, just to spark that memory of ours. So here we go. Down, down, baby. Tap, tap. Here we go. Down, down, baby, down by the roller coaster, sweet, sweet baby, I don't want to let you go. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy round. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop, shimmy, shimmy break down. Two big kids sitting on a fence, trying to make $1 out of 65 cents. She missed, she missed, she missed like this. She missed, she missed, she missed like this. All right, we're going to revisit that in a couple weeks here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is to discover our rhythm of the day. So I have it written here on my whiteboard. I marked where our first beat of the measure, this is where we always start, we call that the downbeat. So to give you a second to look at that, see if you can remember what these sounds are called. If you need to pause the video, that is A-okay. All right. That first one, with the many vertical and double horizontal lines, we call that our tika tika. So I'm just going to jot that down underneath. Next one, also a tika tika. We have tika 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 tika. What's next? Two straight lines up and down with one horizontal line up across top. T-T. Then the very last sound, one straight up and down line, vertical line, ta. All right, so you have tika, 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 ti, ti, ta. I'm going to say this on a repeat. When you can say it with me, please say it with me. And until I say fine. We're going to do it at an andante tempo to start. Here we go. Tika, 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 ti, ti, ta. 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 Fine. Okay, we're going to bump it up. We're going to do it at an allegro tempo. Same thing. Here we go. Tika, 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 ti, ti, ta. 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 Fine. Hear how much faster those tika tikas went? Let's do it at a presto tempo. Let's see if I can do it. Tika 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 ta. 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 Fine. Whew, it's hard to say those tika tikas when they're going that fast. We'll keep working on those. Okay, today I've brought you to my house. I'm in my music room at my own home. And the reason we are here today is because in our last video, I showed you, I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit, some of the instruments that I had. And then I said that in this video, I would show you some different ones. So I have spread around me, around my feet, a whole bunch of musical instruments from the percussion family. And I thought that I'd show them to you so you can kind of hear what they sound like. I had to warn my husband, who's downstairs right now, that I might be making a lot of noise upstairs. And he said, that is fine. I'll play video games. I'll be fine. Okay, so I'm going to start with the drums, I think. I have, first of all, my set of drumsticks that I brought from school. And here I have my sister's snare drum. It's kind of a big thing. Okay, caught on my shirt. It has a white skin across the top. This is called the drum head. And it makes a very sharp, pointed sound when you play it. If you ever hear a drum roll, you hear it on a snare drum. Now you can't see it because it's off camera, but listen to me as I play a drum roll. Yeah, you could definitely tell why they would play that in a marching band, because it needs to be heard from far away. I'm going to set my snare drum back here behind the drum kit, which I'm going to play at the very end. Okay, so the snare drum, that's the first drum I have. The next drum that I have is the talking drum, which is, I think, one of my favorite instruments in the percussion family. Just like the snare drum, it has a skin with a head that you then hit with a striker. Talking drums are a traditional African instrument, and notice that they have these strings running up and down, and I can squeeze my talking drum to make it have a different sound. The reason why it's called a talking drum is just because, like, when we talk, our voices go up and down and up and down. It's the same with a talking drum. So if I just tap it, it sounds like this. If I squeeze it, the sound gets higher. So maybe I wanted to tell a story and I'm talking about a soccer ball. Soccer ball, soccer ball. Maybe I would play an instrument like this to match my story. Soccer ball, soccer ball. So that's my talking drum. One of my favorite instruments, which is why I started with it. Okay, those are the only two drums that I have other than my drum kit, which I'm going to do at the end. So I'm going to set that aside. Next, I'm going to do instruments that you shake to play. So I'm going to start with my maracas. You'll notice on this one, I got these at Goodwill for 99 cents. You can find a lot of cool instruments at Goodwill. So my maracas were made in Mexico, which is pretty cool. And to play the maracas, I think of like punching the air in front of me. And you make a lot of cool sounds if you swirl them, you shake them, but most of the time if you want to do some kind of steady beat, you punch the air. So those are maracas. They usually come in a lot of cool different colors. There's also a way that you can make maracas at home if you have like an old pill bottle from like vitamins, and you can just somehow maybe tape some plastic spoons on there, fill it with rice or beans. That's a really cool activity to do. The next one I have is this is called a shekere. It's made out of a dried gourd that's hollow inside. And then somebody weaved together these beads on a net. And to play the shekere, you just tap it in your hand like that. Okay. Let's see, what other one do you have to shake to make noise? I have two other little shakers here. This is called an egg shaker. You see this a lot more these days with Latin music, but it's called an egg shaker because it's shaped like an egg. Make a really cool sound. And then, I don't know what this one's called, honestly. My husband's mom and dad got this for me as a gift. And it's got what feels like beads inside. Or beans, rather. Just shake it to make noise. So that's a percussion instrument. So you can make stuff like this at home. Speaking of stuff you made at home, this next one I have is a rain stick. Now, I didn't make this one. But if you turn it inside, you usually fill it again with like rice or beans. And there's a bunch of nails or sticks inside. And when you turn it, they fall and they hit all those nails to make a rain sound. Now, like I said, talking about making stuff at home, I made myself a rain stick. And what it is when I ran out of a roll of tin foil, I took the tube that it came in and I nailed a whole bunch of nails in here, filled it with rice, and then I wrapped the whole thing with colored duct tape to make my own little mini rain stick. So if you are someone who likes to do crafts, this is a really easy one to make and it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's just, you got nails laying around and tape. You make some cool stuff. You can cover with construction paper. That's a fun one to make. Next I have sleigh bells. My sleigh bells look like this. To play the sleigh bells, you hold them like this, and you tap the top. That causes them little jingles on there to make a noise. Next I have ones that are called jingle taps, which look like this. Look, those ones I also got at Goodwill for 99 cents. You can find a lot of good stuff there. You can tap them like that to make noise. And they got teeny tiny little cymbals inside. And that's what jingles to make this sound. Pretty cool. These are all ones that you would be able to play if we were in person. And hopefully next year I'll get to bring some in. Okay, the next one that I'm going to play are ones that I tap to make noise. So the first ones I have are a set of claves. Claves are made out of wood. And when you play them, you hold them like if you we're holding a hot dog bun and we're going to squeeze ketchup onto it. And you just tap them together. Claves. Really good for making a beat. Next I have my güiro, which is also hecho in Mexico, made in Mexico. It looks like a fish. It's even kind of painted to look like one. So you can tap a güiro to make a noise, but it's got these ridges, so you can scrape it. That's a güiro. Very cool sounding instrument. I always think it sounds like a frog, but that's just me. Next I have a couple of wood blocks. The first wood block I have is a lot like the one I've been playing at school. Just made out of wood. It's got that little carving out of it to make it a little hollow. Makes a nice sharp sound. The next one that I have looks kind of like it, but it's got a handle on it. This was made in Nigeria, which is kind of cool. It's got another part that's carved out. Kind of makes a different sound. I like this one because it has this cool decoration carved into it, which I think is pretty neat. Next I have some bells that I'm going to show you. First is my cowbell. I have two cowbells. This is the big one. This makes a very loud sound. Mr. Isles is going to be thinking, what is she doing up there? Very loud. I have a smaller cowbell that I've played so much that see how it's dented and it's not quite sharp anymore. Has a very different sound. Next I have some bells that I showed you in class in our last video. Here's my go-go bell. And I remember talking about how it had a big bell and a small bell. This is played a lot in Latin American music. And one that's a lot like the agogo bell is my gankogi, which also has a big bell and a small bell. This is an instrument that they play in Africa. Kind of cool. I like that gankogi. I even like saying it. Next ones that you tap to make noise, I have my triangles. Here's my itty bitty baby triangle. It's little. And here's my big triangle. So they make very different sounds. My big one makes a big sound, low sound. And my little one makes a high sound. I like how colorful they are. Let's see, what do we got next? I have some chimes here. And those are just kind of fun. This is kind of shaped as an instrument from Eastern descent, maybe from Japan, which I think is pretty neat. Speaking of instruments from Asian countries, I also have a gong here. Now, I'm supposed to use a different kind of mallet, but I looked through all my music stuff and I couldn't find my mallet. But this is supposed to make a really big noise. gongs can be really big. My gong is definitely not as big as some gongs can be. This is meant to sit on a tabletop. Definitely makes a big noise, but that one's kind of cool. A few more that I have here. I don't have a whole lot more. Let's see. I have my spin drum. I guess that's a drum I didn't play. That one's kind of fun. We have these in the music room from time to time. I find these at thrift stores all the time. Next I have my kalimba, which is pretty cool. It's made out of a gourd. Sometimes they make it out of like a coconut shell. And then it has these metal prongs that you pluck to make a noise. Okay, a few more. I have some finger cymbals here, or not finger cymbals, just mini cymbals. You can play those in a few different ways. And then my big tambourine that I got when I used to be in a band. You can shake or you can tap to let it make the sound. I play tambourine all the time, so that one's not really new. And then I think I have two more. I'm looking around my feet at all this stuff, and then I'll show you the drum set next. My next one, this is called a renade. And we talked last time about how there's pitched and unpitched percussion instruments. Most of what I played today was an unpitched because it didn't make different sounds. My kalimba makes different sounds depending on which one I pluck. And my chimes make different sounds depending if I hit the longer ones or the shorter ones. But my renade is a pitched instrument. This is from Indonesia, which I found at a really cool shop in Duluth, Minnesota. And then over here I have a glockenspiel. Now my glockenspiel is pretty old. It's looking kind of worn out. But just like my renade, I can hit it to make different sounds. So there's my glockenspiel. The last instrument I have to show you today is the drum set behind me, so I'm going to pop over there next. This is my sister's drum set, but she recently had a baby, my niece, and she needed a place to store it, so she had a place for the crib. So I already showed you the snare drum, but I also have a few toms, which we listened to in our last video. Toms sound like this. Some of them are low, some of them are high. Down here, which is just off camera, there's the big one that I play with my foot. That's called the bass drum, and I have 4 cymbals here. I have a crash cymbal. I have a splash cymbal. This is another crash cymbal. This one's a little bit smaller. It's a little bit higher. And then over here I have my hi-hat, which I also play with my foot. Or I can play with my sticks. Okay, so if you put them together, now I'm not much of a drummer, but I can do a couple little beats, so I just thought I'd try to play something even though you can't really see my head back here. Here I am. Full blast for that one. That was loud. Okay, so those are some instruments in the percussion family. Usually if we were in person, I'd give you a chance to play some of these to get a really good feel for them, but hopefully us listening to a few of them last time and then listening to a few of them today, you got a kind of a sense of the percussion family. Instruments that are hit to make noise, tapped, shaken, plucked at times, or rubbed to make a sound. In the description below, I'm going to post a link to a song called Toccata for percussion. Toccata is just a word that means a song made for an instrument. So toccata for percussion just means a song for percussion instruments. I'd like you to just check it out. Whenever I play this for kids, I make sure to show them a live version, meaning you see the musicians play the instruments in person. That way you can kind of see how the instruments are being played, tapped or shaken to make the sound. So check that out. And then, as you're watching and listening, just think, how are they playing it? Are they playing it in a loud way or in a soft way? Loud we call forte. Soft we call piano. Are they playing it staccato, short and snappy? Are they playing it legato, smooth and calm? Or are they playing it marcato, very strong? You can check that out. What kind of rhythms do you hear? Patterns in music. Do you hear any tika-tikas as they're playing? Just check that out. I think it's pretty cool. All right, only thing we have left to do today is to do our train exit. So breathe with me, Elementary Academy. Here we go. Thank you for joining me in Mrs. Isles' music room today. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.